You're living the dream, Mitch. Having children, it's like it's living with little mini drug addicts. You know, they're laughing one minute, and then they're crying the next, and then they're trying to kill themselves in your bathroom for no good reason. They're very mean and selfish, and they burn through your money, and they break...
Guy, come on.
You know, I was just saying that I envy your life, Mitch.
I envy yours.
I wish I had your life.
Say what you will about this movie. It brings up a good point.
That point being?
If any of us, well, except for you, co-host, but if any of us three human beings over here were to change bodies, that would be the most awkward thing, because that means I'd have to touch your dick at some point.
Yes, but you would be proud at that point.
Would I?
Yeah. You're like, all right.
I'm sure
I better use this.
Yeah.
That's your issue? That's your big problem.
You know what? I wish I would trade bodies. I'd rub my dick on the nastiest thing I could find, man.
You know, it's funny that you would say that, like, that's the first thing you bring up, because you do have the option to not touch my dick.
Hey, man, if my brain is in anybody, that's my dick. At that point, previous ownership be damned. It's my dick now. I'm going to do with it what I want.
I'm only wondering, like, how long is it before one of you guys just say, fuck it, and it's time to scratch and sniff?
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't come back at me when I said I'd rub my dick over the nastiest thing. Surprised you didn't say you already do. Actually, that would be you if you were my body.
Hey, leave those jokes to us, okay?
Yeah.
You're getting into our
we haven't
market.
changed bodies yet. You don't get to use those jokes.
I'm taking them before you get to use them. I'm taking it back.
I mean, shit, if I switch bodies with you, I'm just thinking about the parade of skanks I got to turn away.
An old lady in the nursing home is that way.
It's a funny thing when that parade of skanks actually shows up at your door, how your tune can change real quickly. Like, fucking Corey with all those skanks. And then they're like, hey, Leon, you want to fuck? And you're like...
You'd be like, well,
Cyrus, you see what he's settled for.
No, you're right. Corey's a bad example. If
There'd be a good 60% of those women, I'd be like, you punking me. There's no way Corey stuck his dick.
Perhaps
I just
you
look
would not.
Perhaps there were skanks that Ryan Reynolds turns away in real life as opposed to in this movie.
Yeah, that's different.
I mean, because the thing is, you got to look forward to is like the shit that you're not gonna expect. Like when the guy shows up with his wife and also a goat. Like you're like, wow, all right.
Well, it's better than what I got to look forward to. I'm not getting laid. I got to find out that he has a real Batman suit in his closet. Hey, what you want me to do with this? Put it on, motherfucking white crowd. What?
That's true. It would be real awkward when Robin shows up.
You actually have a Robin, Leon?
Yeah.
He isn't even 12 yet.
He's the guy that goes, I like to watch.
He's a good soldier.
I know. I have to sit up there and watch fucking 24 hours of Lolcats at your house.
Do you
scream at
because you're in my body, do you have to obey my urges? Is that really how that
I'm afraid
works?
that I'd actually come back and tell you.
You know what?
Yeah, Cyrus, the Lolcats is actually really funny.
I'm going to take that back. I don't want anyone sampling anything about you being in my body. We misuse.
Nah, I'm looking. I'm sure. I'm waiting for Corey to tell me the story where a girl shows up dressed up as Hello Kitty. Yeah.
Plus, when you go to Cyrus's house and you turn on his TV, his TiVo is filled up with the Vampire Diaries.
Hey, now that's uncalled for, sir. That is uncalled for. That is. I will take almost anything, but that is untrue.
Somebody, please.
What happened? He'll tell me, "Hey, now go pick up Robin." I'll be, where does he live? Just go to Cyrus's house.
Somebody, please check Corey's computer just so we can. I have a bet with my friend. I was like, I know that motherfucker's collecting furry pictures. I just know it. That motherfucker's into animation. He has to.
Hey, you ain't got to ask your friend. Ask me. Okay. I've been trying to show you.
It's better when I ask my friend.
Yeah, don't ask my neighbor.
Yeah, man. You know what I tell you though? One thing I wish that could be switched is this movie with a good movie. I wish these two film reels could take a piss together.
In retrospect, they're like, we should have changed up with Horrible Bosses because that was the good rated R comedy.
I know, yeah, and it kind of sucks only because Jason Bateman is in it, which that motherfucker has been like in every fucking movie this summer. It seems like
it is the summer of Bateman being in largely not.
It is. I was like, wow, that guy has a great agent because he's in everything. I think he even played one of those fucking Guardians in Green Lantern. But the thing is that you kind of expect some bit of quality with his movies. At least you know it's like, okay, at least he'll be good and the movie will be at least decent. But with this, I was like, okay, wow, you finally took on that role where it's like it's the lowest common denominator of humor.
On paper, though, you're like, wow, it sounds great. Ryan Reynolds is really hot right now. Bateman's career is going great. The rated R comedy's a big thing. Like, wow, and this Bateman desperately needed a role where he got to play a character that wasn't
The straight man.
the Jason
Yeah.
Bateman character. And here, even though he's playing both, he gets to play the crazy Ryan Reynolds. And you're like, okay, I totally see why he wanted to do this.
He probably got a good taste for it when he was in that movie with Ben Affleck, and it was a drama where he played a sleazy reporter.
State of Play.
State of Play,
Yeah,
yeah.
jeez, I forgot about that.
I forgot. I remember the movie, but I forgot Jason Bateman was in it at all.
But it seems
the
good
name.
whenever he gets a chance to take a role like that
Yeah.
people obviously don't normally want to hand him, that he jumps on it. And good for him, but maybe he should have looked before he leapt here.
Well, you know what? You talk about how good it looks on paper. I mean, if you separate the elements of this movie, it's like it should have been a good movie. Like, for all the reasons you said, the setup is good. It certainly shows promise, a good trailer. And it's not like there aren't some good jokes here and there, but in the movie, some good setups.
Yeah. They're far and few between, though. That's the problem.
But the problem is, in between all that is all the shit that you hate in these kind of movies.
I tell you two, Cyrus and Cole, you made a good point by saying, well, why did Jason Bateman take something like this? He seems to be on a roll where he's taking just movies with at least a better premise. I mean, because this premise is hackneyed to the point of parody. But
Hollywood should be told changing bodies is not a genre. It is a
Well, it's like
plot that
it's
you're
like
just
Freaky
ripping off.
Friday can only work so many times.
It shouldn't be, though. Why are we considering this a genre? Why is that acceptable?
This is almost saying like, look, you've seen those kind of movies before,
but
this is where we do it with a different kind of, with two different people.
Not
Let's see how
even
this works
that.
out.
It's not even that. I tell you that there's been this, and you made this point, Cyrus. There's been this huge trend of just the raunchy rated R comedy. I mean, and most of them that are out there have been successful, but this is directed by one of the guys, along with Judd Apatow, who kind of kicked this whole thing off. What's this guy's name? David Dobkin, who did Wedding Crashers.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So when you get the guy that did Wedding Crashers to direct this, no matter how hackneyed the premise is, it's like we have stars who are lining up to probably work with this guy.
Absolutely.
Well, Wedding Crashers was, if I remember correctly, it was unfortunate only that it came out right before a much better rated R comedy, and I'm blanking. I think
I
think it was 40-year-old
Yeah, it was
Virgin.
Yeah, you're right.
And it was like everyone was like, "Wow, Wedding Crashers was pretty." 40-year-old Virgin, holy shit! And
Was
we were like-
40-year-old Virgin
we were like,
after?
Yeah, it was after.
Yeah,
It was?
and they were like, "Hey, what about Wedding Crashers?"
What about Wedding Crashers?
Wedding Crashers was out long enough to get its due.
And it was okay. It wasn't like the best thing ever, but at
wasn't,
that
but
point,
It fared better than a lot of comedies at that time.
At that
It
actually.
was
point,
Yeah.
it
different
was-
at that time.
yeah.
It was like one of the first of those raunchy comedies right after Old School that worked. And it was like, wow, that was so much funnier than I expected it to be.
But this is no Wedding Crashers.
No, after all the string of Judd Apatow comedies that came out, this is nowhere near that. It's nowhere even near Wedding Crashers. I mean, simply because the premise. I'm not going to even harp on this premise too much because I made a list here because throughout time. Throughout the ages, we've seen this premise work over and over again. It's a fun.
Not necessarily work, but
Well,
be
we see it
made
done.
into film.
I don't know. No, I would say that it's worked more often than we have thought it would. Tom Hanks and Big. I mean,
Okay.
that was a classic.
That's not a
right
body
there.
switching film in this genre. He switches bodies with his younger self, but that's not really the same.
They're all all these movies are kind of lumped into body switching in a way. Like 17 Again is like that. Freaky Friday is considered that. Even
Freaky Friday is because it's two different people who switch bodies and
Yeah.
you follow both of them. With
But
what happens.
but usually if you look at it, I mean, you can look around. Usually the body switching genre, it just means that you have changed into another person of some sort, and now you have to try to work to live your life being that different being that you are. Even the Shaggy Dog is considered kind of that within that genre way.
But this follows such a black and white premise. It's like, okay, you got a good guy who's a stand-up dad, tries to do his best to, just live his life with his wife. And you got the complete asshole that doesn't give a shit about anything. He has the job everyone wants. He's making porno, and and it's like
he's a 40-year-old
and
teenager.
He's happy. He is happy and content with his no responsibility having ass. And the thing is, it's like,
And then both of
all
them-
right, I don't know how interesting this can get because already I'm like, I know how this is going to end.
Well, you already know that there's only one way, the point of telling this sort of story, which is that each character sees things in the other guy's life that lets them be able to reflect back on their own shit and go, oh man, I'm fucking up and doing
Yeah,
stuff wrong. I learned how to be happy by being in someone else's shoes for a while.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the plot of
it's-
every single one of these things.
It's the grass is not greener.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I was watching this trailer, I was like, who cares about this premise, man? They've done this over and over again. It's what you do with that premise that could work. Like I
If
said,
you can make me laugh,
Yeah.
that's fine.
If I walked
But-
out at 17 again, with that dude,
Matthew
fucking
Perry.
Matthew, I'm about to say Frankenstein
With
motherfucker.
his refrigerator size head.
Yeah, Jesus, his head gets bigger throughout time, man.
That walking Cabbage Patch Kid.
Motherfucker turned into Stonehenge.
Hey, man, Fred Flintstone called. He wants his head back.
He wants his head back. Goddamn.
Hey man, we got an open space available at Easter Island. I'm just saying. Who's the slot?
Zac Efron.
Zac
Zac
Efron,
Efron, yeah.
It wasn't great, but I was like, hey, it's kind of fun. They do some silly things with this, but the reason why this doesn't work for me is because it depends on too much just bathroom and bathroom and potty humor and profanity. I like the premise. It's you're right. Jason Bateman plays an overachiever. Guy who's working professionally. He's a lawyer. He's about to be made partner. They're about to do this big business deal with the Japanese. And
You know what? He's his character from Horrible Bosses. If Kevin Spacey wasn't his boss,
yeah, Kevin Spacey allowed him to actually, achieve.
Yeah.
And then you got Ryan Reynolds, who, you're right, it's just a man child. He's got a job to where he could probably work on a commercial one time a year. The rest of the time he's buying man toys and
Samurai swords,
video games, eating junk food and fucking chicks and
Hanging out, listening to Spill. Yeah.
and hang out, listen to Spill. I mean, all right, without the pussy.
And it's funny, like you look at his apartment and you're like, wait, isn't that the co-host's apartment?
Yeah, you looking at that like, hey, ain't that my bedroom? Hey, look, that Batman
I
thing
know.
go right there.
I like how,
posters in the background.
I like how my room has been displayed in 2 movies this year.
Yeah, you've been Zach Galifianakis and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
You've covered everything.
Yeah, I wish my life could be as cool as theirs on the big screen.
But these guys, they should not be friends. And first of all, only in movie world would they be friends.
Yeah.
But second of all, they've been friends since 8. Somehow they've kept a connection up throughout the years. And one night they decide, like, hey, this is guy night. We haven't seen each other for a while. We need to go hang out, go watch a game. They hang out. They have fun. They start comparing notes on, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. How's your life? Oh, how's your life? And then like one guy's like, man, I got this big merger at the office, but I got the family at home and everything. It's nice having somebody waiting for me. How's your life? Oh, man, I'm fucking all these hot chicks. I'm acting in commercials and movies, getting to do what I want. They're looking at each other and they're like, damn, why are they pissing in a fountain at the same time? I guess they cross streams and they're like, I wish I had your life. All of a sudden even the statue got looking around and was like, damn, this motherfucker is fine, right? And he's like, oh, but that statue's eyes open.
I know.
And then it somehow magically grants them their wish. The next morning, Jason Bateman finds himself waking up in the body of Ryan Reynolds in that junky ass bedroom, and Ryan Reynolds finds himself waking up in the body of Jason Bateman,
Sit next to his topless hot wife.
yeah, with crying babies and everything. And
You know what? There's a thing about seeing a fresh pair of tits that even crying babies can't take away from. Right next to you.
The best
I know.
part of waking up.
Fresh
titties in your face. Man, which, you know what? I have to admit, though, I was like, wow, okay, this is a great scene because, yeah, her tits are like completely out. But I did notice, and I'm sure hopefully some news will come out like a week later after this film is released, that I really thought that those tits looked almost kind of prosthetic to me.
Yeah, no, we were saying the same thing. That every time they show, was it Leslie Bibb? Right.
Leslie Mann is the one married to Judd Apatow.
They're all the same person.
It looked like just her tits were taken in a photograph by Olin Mills, right? They were just had that foggy look around them. You're like, man, they pulled a Captain America with these tits.
Yeah, they look like tits that you find at the porno store where all they are is just like a set of tits that you can just buy for your own perverted use.
While that's possible, every time they showed her, every time they put her in such soft focus. It was like, I know I've seen other movies with that chick where I'm like, all right, she's nice looking for her age, but she ain't super hot. And this, they had her so soft.
Yeah.
She just looked like a mannequin almost.
I'm letting y'all have this discussion here because I just want to let you know, and I hate to disappoint you, but those breasts are prosthetic.
Are they?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what
I
they
knew
said.
it.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Well, that makes
My
sense.
detective skills are at work again.
That's why they fuzzed up the lens
I
because
told
they didn't
you,
want
yeah.
you seeing where the edges
seam
were.
is.
Where
I
the seams were.
think she used a body double for the whole body shot. Maybe I'm not sure about that, but the breasts are prosthetic because they made jokes about. Yeah, I took them home because she's married to Judd Apatow. Right?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I just hope Judd likes him.
Oh God! Can I say something real quick? I'm really getting pissed off at these movies for doing this shit. First they do it with Jessica Alba by doing some kind of Photoshop shit. Then they do it with Mila Kunis in that last movie she just did.
Friends with Benefits.
Yeah, where it was a complete body double, and I was like, that's not her. That chick is like 6 feet tall. Are you serious? They're pulling some Benny Hill shit.
But wait a minute, brother. Hold on. I'm not going to say it now, but I got got some more bombs to drop on you. as we talk about this
Please
review.
don't.
I got some more shit to tell you.
Please don't.
But but I'm gonna save
Yeah,
it because
okay.
I think you're hurting right now. I don't want to like.
Next thing I know, you'll tell me that
So
wasn't
bad.
real baby shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're
Jason
an
Bateman's
I hate
mouth.
to say it,
Like you are a paid actor. If I was one of these directors, like, no, you are getting fucking naked. You are a paid actor. You're supposed to act like you enjoy being naked. So fucking act the scene
act like
naked.
it.
That's the thing, though, is you look at those boobs in that scene and you're like, man, that is one of the hottest set of tits I've seen.
Yeah.
As long as they're so perfect that, oh wait, they're not
can't
real.
be
her.
Yeah, they can't be real.
All I
Yeah.
kept thinking, I'm like, look, calculating her age, there's no way that's her.
Well, you know what, Cyrus? I could probably get a hold of the special effects department here and have them mold you some. You can have
I'd be like,
you just sit up there playing with his
I don't even need to switch bodies to play with set boobs.
I
just
know.
put on my boob suit.
shirt off. I didn't say it now.
You get
Oh,
those
my
for
God.
him, we'll never see him
Oh my
again.
God. If you do that, Cyrus, just call me because I want to bring over my stereo so I can play Goodbye Horses.
I was like, this is the only reason I even have a job. In the first place is the hope that someday I'd be able to feel a pair of tits like this.
Actually, you know what? If you get those pair of teeth, I'll be at your house. Cyrus,
Yeah.
what you doing, man?
Can you put them on the cat or something? It's freaking me out,
Be like,
Cyrus.
hey, Cyrus, you want to play some Xbox? Put on the titties first. It just helps me play better.
Can you put the controller up closer to your tits so I can take a picture?
You know something? You're right. We're talking about baby poop, nudity, prosthetic titties, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, things that we could laugh at. I mean, I've even softened up to the point where I appreciate the fart and shit joke these days if it's done right. But this film, you have a combination of two things. You have, first of all, this lame premise, which is overused, which, as I said, it can work if you have something clever to bring to it. But this movie takes this lousy premise, this overused premise, and just does nothing with it but do a bunch of sex and bathroom jokes.
It feels like they took a film that was PG and said, like a script that there was there's probably 80 billion body switching movies scripts floating around in Hollywood that they can just pull one randomly out of a file. And they took this one and said, staple a bunch of fart, shit, and inappropriate cussing jokes on top of these scenes, and we'll have a movie. And that's all that you've got there.
I would say to go take it even further. It's like they got done with that script and showed it to somebody and went like, that's good, but we need to have Ryan Reynolds say fuck a lot more than that.
It's
and they brought the script back and they say, oh, you know what? Just have him say fuck like every fourth word.
Yeah.
Let him just throw it in there randomly.
It honestly is like the laziest written movie I've seen this summer. I mean, I've seen some stinkers this summer, but this one takes the cake only because the people who are attached. Like I said, Jason Bateman, I'm like, really, dude? It's like I'm hoping maybe they kept to the script because if they were ad-libbing, I'm like, okay, you guys seem completely lost in what you're doing because there's nothing really there for you to work with. And on top of that, I didn't like any of their characters. There wasn't a single moment where I honestly really dug their characters at all to where I gave a shit. Especially Jason Bateman's character. I'm like, wow, this guy is just an asshole. He doesn't give a shit. He's fucking over his friends and his friend with his family. I mean, he's really fucking over that
Wait a
family
minute, don't
bag.
you mean Ryan Reynolds?
Wait.
Ryan Reynolds in Jason Bateman's
Yeah,
body.
yes.
Okay.
But the thing is, I just didn't like that character. I'm like, wow, your friend is a complete asshole.
Man, you make a point. Like, because Leon told me, he's like, Ryan Reynolds' character in that movie, regardless of which body he's in, is such an asshole that
No one would stay friends
it's
with
like,
them.
It's like, it really is. Like, do assholes like this exist in real life? Because this is another level of asshole. This is like socially retarded asshole.
Yeah, Tucker Max is like, man, you're an asshole.
Jesus, I mean, this guy goes to it's not even a matter of like sex and fart jokes and all that kind of stuff. Ryan Reynolds in Jason Bateman's body goes to this guy's job. I mean, come on. What kind of fucking idiot do you have to be to know not to walk into a law office and just say, hey, where's the fucking papers? Hey, fuck you, man. Hey, talk to that fucking guy. You know, he's ruining this guy's job. If he really cared about his friend, would he really do that?
Yeah,
His
well, the first
wedding,
thing, yeah.
ruining his relationship with his kids, and doing it in a way that you have to be 10 years old not to understand that you're fucking up. Which is why, like I said, I feel like this was a totally different script that they just stapled the word fuck on top of.
That's where it falls apart because, you know, this movie totally could have worked. But I put a lot of the fault on not Ryan Reynolds himself, but goddamn, Ryan Reynolds just has a knack for being the good guy in a bad movie over and over and over again. But just the way his character is written to where, not only would nobody be friends with him, but certainly a guy who's responsible, has a job as a lawyer, has a family, 2 kids, a marriage he's trying real hard to keep together. You would never have this guy around your kids. He's dangerous.
Well, no, especially during the scene where he's like, "Hey, dude, I'm sleeping with your wife now. I'm gonna fuck her tonight. All right? Is that cool? Like I'm fucking her tonight.
As if that would be cool.
I'm gonna happen."
Only problem I see is what do I tell Jamie?
What do you tell Jamie?
Well,
What?
she wants to have sex tonight. Huh? Think about that.
You're not having sex with my wife, Mitch.
Obviously, bro, but if she comes at me like a hurricane, a guy can only withstand so much.
Mitch.
Dave, I'm trying to pull something off here, okay? Now, I might have to hit that, okay? She'll know. Now, how many times a day do you guys have sex? I have to pace it out.
You would immediately kick that guy in the nuts and put him in a chokehold. And
Well,
say,
maybe not in the nuts, because you might get those nuts back at
maybe
some point.
But, I mean, you would fuck that dude up. And like, you're not even going home.
Even where he didn't even have a
going
second.
to my house.
He didn't even have a second thought about fucking his best friend's wife. He's like, dude, I have to do it, man. I have to fuck her tonight. I have to pound the shit out of her.
But you know what? Yeah, he's like too enthusiastic.
Yeah.
But I mean, see, that's the thing though. This movie did have some interesting original premises to offer. I've never seen a change of movie where, hey, one guy's married, one guy's not. What are you gonna do with that in that situation where your friend who is in your body has to like go to bed with your wife that night, even if it got that far, and it's like, they didn't do anything with that except they could have made that one big, even make it a silly scene, but the way they decided to go about that, Leslie Mann goes to the bathroom and takes a massive fart blowing shit.
It's an embarrassing sequence to watch.
Yeah, and it's like, that's how you resolve this?
Right.
And as well as using it to make a point about like how, like, okay, first there's that when you're married for long enough, you I guess supposedly take a shit with the door open facing your significant other in bed. I've never heard anybody doing that, but okay.
I have.
Well, I bet you they're not still married.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
But also to have but also to illustrate the infrequency of sex, which was just one of the yet another thing. You feel like the movie itself is mean spirited.
That's what I
like the
thought,
movie
too.
doesn't like its own characters.
Well, like the way it right off the bat, Jason Bateman, he's got two babies and one is banging its head against the crib in such a way where you're like, that's not a normal child.
Well, it's clearly
that
a
child
dummy.
has a problem, and you would be with a psychologist or on medication.
Yeah.
But he's changing the diapers, they're screaming, he's getting shit in his mouth, which I'll talk about that scene right off the bat. You're like, look, a scene like that is funny depending on how the character reacts. But he acts like somebody squirted chocolate in his mouth and keeps on going.
Again.
Because that's what it was. I think they honestly should have sprayed real shit in his
They
face
should
to
have.
get a real honest reaction.
Maybe that way he would have taken this movie more seriously.
Yeah.
You know what, though?
But it's the way the reactions are. Like, they do treat it like, wow, his life, he has 2 kids and his life fucking sucks.
They make it
It's
seem like
whoa.
an inescapable purgatory.
Yeah.
And why would you? Because I was even trying to remember, like, at what point did Ryan Reynolds really say, hey, I want your life in order to make this movie work? Because I was like, it doesn't make any sense to me why he would want this guy's life.
Well,
Because he's already despising it from the get-go.
The movie never makes any concession towards things like that. Even in the resolutions, you're like, yeah, this is really just because the movie looked at his watch. He goes, well, it's time to wrap this thing up.
exactly.
So we're just going to have them come
Which
to
I'm glad somebody
convenient
did that. I'm
realizations.
glad somebody did that because towards the end, I was like, I'm ready for this to end already.
The
This
thing
needs
is,
to
it could have
quick.
been so much more interesting had Ryan Reynolds discovered wow, having a family is great. My life has really been so empty. When Jason Bateman is saying hey man, it's time to switch back. He'd been like, no, I don't think so.
And yet,
I must destroy you.
even with all this stuff we're saying, there are points throughout the movie
There are.
that it genuinely made me laugh. And there were always things you didn't see coming, little weird things that were unexpected. Like you were saying, Corey, there's premise moments that you're like, wow, that was kind of original, but they never last is the problem. And they never make sense in the context of trying to care about these characters.
It's like
at
one
all.
of the 16 writers on it was getting it right.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it felt like. It was one guy who was funny, and everybody else was like, whatever.
And even the whole idea, it's like, okay, this guy gets to, live with your family and pound your wife. And you're like, I don't like that. But you get to fuck the hot secretary at your job that you've been lusting after forever.
Ridiculously hot
Yeah,
secretary.
Olivia Wilde, man, that's
Yeah.
another thing.
Tron girl.
Yeah, she was as hot as she's ever been in this
Yeah,
movie.
she was. Because most of the time I'm just like, yeah, she's not bad. But this one I was like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing that they just make it too easy.
They do make it too
It's
easy.
like it's Jason Bateman has this hot secretary played by Olivia Wilde who obviously has a crush on him. And now that he's in, another
Right.
body, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, he can do it. But they never really do anything with it. They make it too easy. Olivia Wilde is like, hey, I'm a crazy person too. So
Yeah, she's
we
like
get along
doing
real well.
backflips. I found somebody who's just as crazy as me, and I'm like,
She's-
really? Did
She's
you?
clearly in another body switching movie where a dude was in her body
Yeah,
because they
exactly.
just wrote her character like a guy, and because they figured its audience, they're going, that'd be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
She likes sports and drinking beer.
Yeah.
It's like they went out of their way. They went out out of the realm of logic to just have those two together in a film.
When they switched to Ryan Reynolds, now first of all, that was some small moments where when they were having conversations, like I love the whole thing about, oh man, what are we gonna do about the whole dick thing? It's like, hey man, you masturbated with my dick.
Yeah, that was one of the funnier bits of that.
Like, let me tell you how to masturbate. Okay, you masturbating right now with my dick? Okay, well let me tell you how to do it. I thought that was funny, but what really caught me off guard and made me laugh, the trailer. And I don't want to hear you say spoil it, but the trailer actually, because you'll fuck with me about that, Leah. But the trailer like leads you to believe that Ryan Reynolds is like this ladies' man who's having these hot chicks over every night. In the movie, he's a freak. He's a loser.
He's like you. Like that's the one thing you're holding on to that you still like about him early on. You're like, well, at least that guy's pulling some hot tail, and partying. And then you're like, wow, this guy is fucking disgusting.
No, I like how.
I love that twist of it.
What you just find out, like. Not just nasty, but how disturbing this guy is. When you find out what his life is like.
I was waiting for the amputee victim to come in and go, he's fucking you too? Holy shit.
And I like Jason, Ryan Reynolds honing Jason Bateman saying, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? While he's in his body. He's like, Jesus, man, what are you doing?
It could have led to a scene where it had the two of them really discussing dude, what kind of crazy shit are you into, man? I don't even know if I should be your friend anymore because, man, that is just fucked up what you're doing right now, man.
And this is why nobody should ever switch bodies with anyone.
Exactly. Because you don't want them knowing shit.
No, I mean, that's one of the truthful things that this movie did.
I was going to say, as much as we talk about the things that aren't logical, that was completely logical.
Well,
when you look at his life, even though he was like a handsome actor, you look at how much his life was just kind of messed up and not right. It only made sense. Like when that revelation comes, it's like, okay, I get it.
Well, even the whole, look, I complained about the shitting thing because I thought, if it had been in the context of something else, I think that scene could have worked. But because this movie just showed me they had nothing else to do but show me fart and shit jokes, I thought I just chalked that up to being not very creative. But I have to admit, it was honest. I mean, this guy he's hitting hot chicks every night and whatnot. Maybe we don't see it in the movie. We see disturbing shit, but we assume that he's hitting hot chicks up. He doesn't know what marriage life like. He doesn't know that occasionally your wife is going to shit and fart at some point because she's in the same room, even the door is closed. You're going to hear some shit you don't want to.
Well, a lot of times women will get married just so they can finally go ahead and shit and fart.
Finally shit for once in their life.
Hey, I've been holding this shit in for the 2 years.
I've been holding this in for 10 years.
The moment you walk into that hotel room, coming out of the limo from your wedding, the first thing she's going to do is go,
oh my God. It's going to be like that fucking Spike and Mike cartoon I saw years ago where this guy just took a shit and his shit pretty much created a mountain to where his head hit the top of his ceiling.
I've been holding that in for 25 years.
Thank God. I love you, baby.
You find Excalibur in the shit.
and I have to say, the scene with the baby at the beginning, they begin this movie with a baby shitting in Jason Bateman's mouth. And we got to warn you people, not only do you see the shit flying into Jason Bateman's face, but you see the ass of the baby pulsating.
Yeah. That looked like this fucking Return of the Jedi scene.
I know, you think Return of the Jedi, I was saying, it's one thing to have a baby shit in your mouth in a movie, but they took it a little too far. They went that extra mile to make that baby. That wasn't shit. That was some stuff that Jabba the Hutt would cough up. You know? I expected that baby to shit up like a fish that Jabba the Hutt eats.
I have to admit, I did get hungry because that chocolate pudding that they I mean, as soon as we've all seen shit, and we know what shit looks like, and probably shit would have been more effective for that scene. But this was obviously this was fucking Bill Cosby spraying some Jell-O pudding into the guy's mouth, and I'm sorry, that shit looked creamy and delicious. I'm sorry.
Bill Cosby in that baby's ass.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, that ass scene though.
Special effect.
Yeah, I was like that ass scene. I just had flashbacks of fucking Serbian film. Like, no, stop this.
Leon, I have to say though that you criticize the movie for that baby. That in the movie. And it's a special effect. It's almost like a CG.
It's like an animatronic.
Yeah, it's an animatronic.
It's an animatronic.
It's a puppet
of this baby, this little puppet baby beating his head against the crib, and that was so surreal and weird to me.
Jason Bateman is just sitting there while he's still Jason Bateman, just looking at him, going like, "Oh boy!" This kid is violently banging his head against the crib, and it's stuff like that in this movie that you're like, "Look, I know you're trying to be like like gross out weird and like just off-putting weird like that. But man, I can't even believe this is even mildly real.
I don't know.
no.
That made me laugh, especially when I knew what was coming, because I knew that Ryan Reynolds would have to switch, but when he switched bodies with him, we'll have to come in and catch that one night and be like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid right here?
Yeah, well, the thing is that with that scene, it just leads you up to the part where the movie just gets a little too ridiculous, where it's like, all right, like there's a scene where they pull a Gremlins, where the babies are in the kitchen, and all hell's breaking loose, and I'm just like, okay, I guess you were preparing me with the headbutting scene to lead up to this, even though it's so cartoonish, and it's honestly like, I'm like, what are you guys trying to make here?
They just took it too far.
Okay,
at
now,
that point.
I'm gonna lay that bomb on you. I said I was gonna lay on you earlier.
Shit.
Olivia Wilde, she actually had her nipples covered in the movie.
Bitch!
I know. I hate to tell you, boy.
You know what?
brother.
Because you see that. You see the side of her nipples.
Well, we see some nipple, because her nipples are supposed to be covered by Ryan Reynolds' head.
Yeah.
And he actually moves, so they put CG nipple.
You know, which is the dumbest thing
why
ever.
even bother?
It's like, really, Olivia Wilde, you're like upset because, okay, it looks like your real nipple. It looks like a real nipple, but no, because that would be taking something special away from you if it was your
exactly.
actual nipple. What?
In 15 years, we're gonna see that shit anyway.
Yeah.
I know she's gonna end up at Playboy if it's still around, or Penthouse, whoever wins that battle. But
it'll be 15 years from now when nobody gives a shit.
But I'm like,
She'll be like, hey, look at me, I'm still hot. It's like, whatever.
all I wonder is how much money did you guys waste on having a body double just to have like a scene with the side of her nipple, which is already covered in shadow. I'm like, how much money did go into making that whole scene with hiring another actress to do that?
There's got to be 8
That's
billion
so stupid.
really enormously hot actresses on an Olivia Wilde level out in Hollywood who would love to show their tits, their vagina, whatever in a movie like this.
Like I said, it's called acting. You're playing a character that is not you. Do your job.
And she doesn't do anything that,
No, she
that
doesn't.
couldn't have been done by somebody else.
You know, like I said, I'm the kind of guy. You heard me say this. I know I have the reputation for wanting to see titties all the time, but I'm like, you know, a girl, if you don't want to take a top off, I'm cool with that. I don't think they should have to. And I'm actually against women having to like show their bodies just to advance in a career. However,
gay.
Yes. You said it before I did.
I just did. You gonna say I can call you gay all I want? No, I just did.
I've learned already to deal with this.
You are a blight.
I don't give a fuck. I'm either
Throw away your man badge.
I'm either sexist villain or I'm gay. I've learned to like be a loser either way. But my thing right here is like, look, if you're gonna show, like, if you can show nudity in creative ways, like if you don't want to show it, then don't show it. Do some Austin Powers shit with it, but don't do this halfway shit. Either show it or don't.
Yeah.
That's fucking
If you realize, if you realize, the thing is, if you realize you are creating a problem for the director because you don't want to be in one shot where your fucking tit is covered, covered in shadows. You're being an asshole at that point, all right?
And you know what?
Everyone
If
is
you're
waiting on you because you don't want to do a goddamn titty shot that they have to hire
and
somebody
if your
else.
scene calls for you to get a mouthful of baby shit, I say let's shoot some baby shit in that motherfucker.
You know what, co-host?
Real baby up in here.
You're so right.
What happened to film integrity?
If an ugly Frankenstein-looking motherfucker like Jason Segel is willing to show his dick,
Yes.
on film,
Exactly. It ain't even a gender thing. But you know what it's like? Shit, this movie could have been done already. And baby, I'm waiting on my shit to come back from Lucasfilm just for a nipple. You know?
Exactly,
God damn it. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I paid like fucking Tom Savini like a stupid amount of money to make a fucking prosthetic for you.
We trying to make the change up and turn into a fucking zombie film.
You know, I'm gonna make somebody else a star who really wants it. All right,
We're gonna bring in the Weta effects work out here. We're supposed to be making the motherfucking hobbits right now.
Yeah,
Now you gotta be making Leslie.
The same guy who made you those fucking hobbit feet made your tits. All right, I hope you're proud of yourself.
Recreate Middle Earth for a titty. You know, get the fuck on out of here with that. I tell you what, though, man.
At least they weren't furry.
No, that's the other part that CG out. You know, while you're there, can you take that straight hair out? But I mean, as much as we're complaining, sounds like a problem on the road. Well, it sounds like I'm probably on the road to giving this some more bullshit. Throughout the small parts of friendship that I did see in here that was funny, throughout some of the raunchy humor that did work, and near the end when it steered gears away from all the bad, just dirty humor and actually became somewhat of a very stupid and predictable story, but one that kind of turned at least a little bit sweet. You know, these guys begin to learn the values of their lives, which at that point I just want something of substance. I'm like, I'll give this a low rental.
Yeah.
It's funny because I just remember that Alan Arkin was in this movie and you completely forget because there's a whole subplot with him being Ryan Reynolds' dad that just
Yeah.
kind of comes and goes nowhere.
Disappears entirely from the
Yeah,
film.
big deal about it at first, and then it's just like whatever.
Just
Just it
we're not
disappears,
even
yeah.
gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, it disappears like Tron Girl's tits.
but it's one of those things where, like, yeah, I
That was just CG Alan Arkin.
Yeah, that was another prosthetic that they used.
they just pulled all his bits from Little Miss Sunshine.
They propped it up.
Actually a nipple, and they changed it to an Alan Arkin.
But you know, Corey, I'm like you. Like I could spend all day telling you everything that's wrong with this movie and where they blew it, because it had a lot of promise. I mean, you know, sure, it's a tight premise, but a lot of people can take like, hey, here's this premise you've seen a million times, but watch what we do with it. And all these elements here, these actors, and this wave of rated R comedies should have been gold. I was looking forward to it. It just hurts me that it blew it so badly, like right off the bat. At the same time, there are things about it to enjoy. I know, you know, if you're the kind of person, if you're the right person, it'll be a crowd pleaser for you. And even I didn't hate it. It just comes as almost a high rental for me.
Wow. You're more generous to it than I can be.
Yeah. There's something. You know what? It's been a couple of weeks since we saw it.
Yeah.
So my memory's a little fuzzy. I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt.
All I can remember is the bad, not funny parts. I can't even remember any of the funny parts, which is part of the reason that I am defaulting back to what Corey said. This is a low rental of a film. You say that it had a lot of promise. I say, just because it had Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman, two really talented comedic actors, getting a chance to do something a little bit different for them in their careers, playing different types of roles for each of them.
Well,
you know what I say?
also.
But it doesn't sell. It doesn't. It never really. It doesn't do what it sets out to do, I think, on any level. And even though there are moments, you said there's moments that I went, okay, that was pretty funny. I didn't see that coming. And they are admittedly still raunchy. Most of the time, it's just shit in your mouth, or hey, let's cuss in front of a little kid, and that kind of thing. And that's just not funny at all to
You know
me.
what? Sorry, you're right. I just give it a regular rental.
Yeah, he was.
I
2 weeks
changed
later,
him.
He was 2 weeks older and growing soft. You know, bring him back.
I did it, Corey. Give me $10.
So you giving it a rental?
Low rental.
Low rental, okay. Yeah. I mean, you guys pretty much have all said it in a nutshell. I mean, there were moments where, it did make me chuckle, but that's it. I mean, it just seemed like a really lazy film to me. It's about like I said, it's the laziest rated R movie I've seen in a long time. And I was looking for it only because it had Jason Bateman in it. And I expect some level of like, good quality entertainment from that guy, and this is the first movie where he failed. I'm glad he had a chance to finally play a role where he gets to be an asshole. It's great and all, but you know what? Do that at home. Don't put that on film. Don't make people pay full price. This is definitely a fucking rental at the goddamn Redbox or whatever.
Man, you're gonna get a letter from Jason Bateman saying, "I'm sorry, I failed you, co-host."
Hey, maybe
Don't ever do that shit again.
Maybe he's gonna send me an angry letter because I'd say that's hardly the first time Jason Bateman has failed in Hollywood.
I told him, I forgave you for Teen Wolf 2. All right, that was the last time.
No, I mean even recently. What was that Mike Judge film he was in? Remember that? Extract? That was shit.
Oh, I never saw that.
Oh yeah, that was not good.
You know what? Go take a piss with him. Maybe you took an exchange body.
yeah.
Jason Bateman be like, "Why am I auditioning for Batman again?"
Like, why am I standing outside Home Depot?
Why am I? What was that?
Why am I with all these Mexicans standing outside?
Wait, I didn't even have a robo penis.
Oh my god! Now I want to dress up as Batman and go wait at the fucking Home Depot over there with all the Mexican workers. Yeah, I know.
You'd get picked immediately.
Yeah, this is where they're auditioning the new Batman. Right?
Somebody's been ripping off my house in the middle of the night. Get in the back of the truck.
He's got his own tool belt. So.
You got a scarecrow outfit.
I am gonna ruin her. Oh my god.
I need to cool it on the Thai food.
Oh my god.
No. Don't back that thing up into me. Can't believe you come at me guns hot.